Adventure Time was pretty incredible, but does your life really have any meaning?
Who the starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
I'm joking. Your life is probably very valuable.
Or is it?
At first glance, you really wouldn't believe that Billy being once called Oo's greatest hero by Finn and Jake themselves.
I love you, Billy! I got a secret crush on you, Billy!
And the Lich, proving himself multiple times over to being one of his greatest threats, would have anything in common. But they terrifyingly both came to the exact same realization during their final moments.
You know where she is right now? She'd probably be eaten by a different monster. She'd probably be dead.
And in my universe, this I achieved. But it gave me no satisfaction.
Yeah, both Billy and the Lich somehow managed to end their individual journeys by subscribing to the single most tragic and self-destructive philosophy that has ever existed: nihilism. The belief that all political and religious organizations are bad. The belief that morality, rejecting lust, and celebrating our very humanity aren't as valuable as we were led to believe. The belief that life itself is meaningless.
Calm down, son. It's just a drawing.
But seriously, why in the world did Adventure Time choose to end the arcs of two of the biggest and most impactful characters like this? How did these two beings who live a majority of their lives on completely opposite sides of the totem pole come to the exact same troubling conclusion? And most importantly, were they right? After the mushroom bomb was unleashed on the Earth, the humans of Oo were intriguingly able to survive multiple different apocalypse level threats, but I don't think that this was entirely a feat of their own.
The legendary Billy attacked him and pummeled him into the resin of this tree.
In addition to the triumphant defeat of the Lich at the hands of Billy, he was also able to protect a decent chunk of the humans from other ruthless enemies like the Oozers, the Rainicorns, and the humans themselves. I mean, even after the founders worked so hard to secure the islands for the rest of humanity and build the Guardian to keep them all safe from the many ghouls lurking within the land of Oo, they'd still find a way to knock off over 62% of their own people by choosing to develop a human-killing virus, again on the island with the most humans on it.
Man, I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear!
We've been focusing on humans a ton during this section here, but remember that Billy wasn't just the defender of humanity. Our boy was straight up the defender of all innocent life in the entirety of the land of Oo itself.
No, I was talking about beating up monsters. It's as pointless as a dog chasing his own tail.
You what?
Put yourself in Billy's shoes for a moment. Imagine how exhausting it must have been to be frequently battling against enemies like the Oozers, the Rainicorns, and not to mention the damn near immortal and rising population of vampires for hundreds of years. Only for you to see in front of your very eyes that at the end of the day, none of your hard work and effort was making any real impact.
All my life I've beaten on evil creatures. But new evil keep popping up. Kicking their butt was a hopeless effort.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I mean, Billy can't even realistically claim the credit for permanently stopping a single relevant enemy that was threatening the land of Oo. The Oozers are clearly still alive and well in the present day. Based on what we learned from Bob and Ethel, the Rainicorns seem to have stopped visiting Oo not because Billy scared them off, but rather because of the fact that they simply couldn't find any more humans to dine on. And even the vampires had to have been stopped by Marceline while she was still growing up and struggling with boatloads of her own trauma.
I've cleared out almost all the vampires that are left. In another week or two, you won't even have to leave.
Even the Lich, who was impressively sealed inside of a block of amber by Billy, would not only escape his unconventional prison, but he'd also manage to be the one who would poetically take the legendary hero's life. So let's finally talk about the Lich's place in all of this madness before we dive into his deeper connection to Billy.
Huh? What the?
Now, Valic is without a doubt one of the most fascinating antagonists on the entire show just by his very nature. Born from the Green Catalyst comet, which was the embodiment of a desire for extinction, and awakened by the infamous detonation of a mushroom bomb, Valic managed to become one of the most iconic cartoon villains of all time, despite the fact that he's literally had less than 18 minutes worth of screen time as of Fiona and Cake Season 1. During the OG series, Valic was introduced as being a pseudo-cosmic entity who was solely motivated by one singular desire, the desire to destroy all life. In short, Valic's only reason for even existing was to achieve this one very specific goal.
Or is it? No.
You see, the version of Valic that was defeated by Sweet Pea and Fane during Whispers technically wasn't the same version that has been terrorizing the land of Ooo in the main timeline since the beginning of the series.
Eesh.
Fiona and Cake blew our minds and ripped out our hearts by revealing that when Valic made his wish in the main timeline, he actually got exactly what he wanted. Prismo gave Valic free reign over a universe where he won, a universe where all life was extinct, except for Bimo.
No!
When Valic realizes that accomplishing the goal he's been working so hard to achieve during his entire life only left him feeling alone, empty and depressed, he'd complain to the new Queen of Chaos, Go Betty, before being abruptly turned into a Tetris block.
But wait! There's more!
What a sick joke!
Now, this naturally didn't please everyone in the Adventure Time community while Fiona and Cake was being released, including myself. At first glance, it seemed like giving Valic the ability to experience very human emotions like sadness and depression was a massive mistake and made Valic feel a lot less threatening, but after giving it some thought, I actually think that it makes perfect sense. Valic was never explicitly shown to be a force of nature and nothing else. We know for a fact that he's been able to experience other emotions over the course of the series, besides sadness, like anger when Sweet Pea stood up to him, and happiness when he initially got his wish granted.
This is all very nice, but it doesn't solve the mystery.
Billy became nihilistic after he learned that achieving his goal of protecting all life in Ooo was practically impossible. And Valic ironically became nihilistic when he learned that achieving his goal of ending all life in Ooo was actually entirely possible. Billy and Valic's battle with nihilism literally ended up costing both of them their lives, but they actually weren't the only characters on Adventure Time that has struggled with this awful mindset. Remember how Prismo was able to grant the wish of the original version of Valic, leading to him getting his very own twisted universe? Well, the original version of Fane was also able to snag a universe for himself. Yeah, it's really weird to think about, but Famode Fane is technically the Fane that we started the series with, and his existence being as tragic as it was led him to gaining an incredibly nihilistic and selfish view on life. The most interesting character trait that Adventure Time's most nihilistic characters, being Billy, Valic and Famode Fane, all have in common is the fact that they're all now dead.
He said it! He said it!
The moment that each of these characters gave into nihilism was essentially also the moment that they lost the will to live. Adventure Time went out of its way to teach us that despite the goals that we might fail to complete and the goals that we'll inevitably achieve, our lives and our reality will always only be what we make it.